Hello, and welcome to IEDU Day 1. Today, we will be doing three things. First of all, we will be going through a course overview. After that, we will be looking at speaking and writing TOEIC, which will be covered in this class. And finally, we will go into cover letters. The first thing I would like to do, as we get started into this course, is to actually take a look at an overview of exactly what will happen during the 15 days of this course. First of all, there are 4 parts to this test, or for this class. Each part has its score, and the score will be added together to decide whether you pass or fail the class. So you need to make sure that you watch the videos and you do any homework and take any tests that are required to make sure that you can get as many points as possible to be able to pass the class. Okay, the first part of the test. The first part of this test is actually going to be speaking TOEIC and writing TOEIC. Speaking TOEIC and writing TOEIC were chosen because they are output skills and they're things that maybe you haven't actually had exposure to. However, being able to take one of these 2 tests, or both of them, will be able to help you get a better score or a better job the better the score is. So that's one of the reasons this was chosen. As an overview, the speaking TOEIC will be on days 2 through 8. We'll go through each part in one day and then a review for the midterm. The midterm is going to be the speaking TOEIC, and it will be on class 9. So you'll have a test to take that day instead of doing a listening. On days 10 through 13, you'll be working on writing TOEIC. We'll go through each part. There are 3 parts to the writing TOEIC, and then day 13 is a review. Day 14, you'll take a test, which is actually a writing TOEIC test. Part 2 of this class is job-related English. Now, as this class is designed mainly for students who have graduated but might still need some help with English, it was decided to add some job-related English to this class. So, first of all, we'll go through Get a Job English. And Get a Job English is like resumes, cover letters, interviews, and things like that. Then there'll also be Business English, because some of you may already have a job. The Business English component will talk about meetings, business emails, business letters, and other business-related language that you might need to use if you find yourself in an English setting. And you need to speak in English for a business setting. Part 3 is reflection. Every week there will be a reflection paper about what is happening in the course, where you need to write down what is happening, how well is it studying, how well is everything going. And part 4 is vocabulary. The TOEIC test was selected instead of OPIC or TOEFL because it is also business related. So speaking TOEIC, writing TOEIC are business English. Job-related English, like resumes and meetings and things like that, are also business English. So part 4 is to be able to use business English, you need to have some business English. So part 4 will be the vocabulary that revolves around business English. Day 1. Speaking and Writing TOEIC Overview. The daily objectives for Speaking and Writing TOEIC are to understand the Speaking and Writing TOEIC test, understand the 12 areas covered by the test, understand the importance of Speaking and Writing TOEIC, understand the 6 parts of the Speaking TOEIC, and understand the 3 parts of the Writing TOEIC. So, the TOEIC test uses 12 different areas on its test. It is a business English test. It is test of English of international communication. And so, as such, it is going to have predominantly business and survival English as its main focus. First of all, corporate development. This could be research and product development. This is one of the listed topics of the test. The first of the survival English is dining out. This could be business lunches, banquets, receptions, making reservations, or even going out with friends to a restaurant. The next area is entertainment, which is also falling under survival English. Going to the cinema, the theater, music, art exhibitions, museums, and media of some sort would fall under entertainment. Finally, on this page, there is finance and budgeting, which is another business area which includes banking, investment, taxes, accounting, and billing. The second part of the topics of the test include general business such as contracts, negotiations, mergers, marketing, sales, warranties, business planning, conferences, and labor relations. Healthcare is a survival English. Medical insurance, visits to the doctor, dentists, clinics, and hospitals. Housing and corporate property is a combination of survival English and business English. It could be tied with construction specifications, but it could also be buying and renting a house or an apartment so that you can move or live in the U.S. It also includes getting things like electric and gas services for a house. Human resources, manufacturing, and the office are all business-related topics, which are also covered on the TOEIC test. And then there is also purchasing, which is another business-related topic. This is followed by technical areas. Technology has moved into business quite a bit, so it is one area that they are adding more and more topics to in the test. This could include electronics, technology, computers, laboratories, and related equipment, and technical specifications. And finally, travel could be included as a survival English. The use of trains, airplanes, buying tickets, schedules, and announcements, car rentals, hotels, delays, cancellations could all possibly be topics that the test might cover. So, why do we study the speaking TOEIC and the writing TOEIC? First of all, many companies are starting to require speaking and writing TOEIC scores when they hire people because they are looking for people who can produce English, not just listen and read and fill in Scantron sheets. And as it shows output, people have to speak or people have to write. It is hard to fake. You cannot just guess letter C when you are doing a speaking or a writing test, like you can in the listening and reading. It is more expensive to take, and that is part of why it is being included in the IEDU program to add this to education before you try to take the test. There are 6 sections to the speaking TOEIC. The first section is to read a text. This section you will be given words on the screen and you have to read them. You do have a little bit of time to prepare. In the real speaking TOEIC there would actually be 2 of these on a test. Describing a picture is the second section where you look at a picture and you have about 45 seconds to describe it. This is followed by responding to questions and then responding to questions using information. That would be where you have the information on the screen and you have to answer questions about this information. Part 5 is to propose a solution where you listen to a problem that someone has and you have to try to find an answer to this problem. And finally, expressing an opinion. This is like writing an opinion paragraph or essay, except you're talking through the answer instead of writing. There are a total of 11 questions, and the total test would take approximately 20 minutes. For the sections of the writing TOEIC, there are 3 sections. Describe a picture, respond to an email, and express an opinion. So there's 5 pictures and 2 emails, so there's a total of 8 questions. They only allow 58 minutes to get through all 8 of these, which can be a very tight when you're writing. So, as we're going through speaking and writing TOEIC, since there are 12 parts there's 12 weeks covered, no, there's 14 weeks covered, and there's 9 different areas. We'll go through the writing TOEIC twice, we'll go through the speaking TOEIC once each, and then there will be a checkup to make sure that you can go through kind of like a quiz at the end to help you understand, show your understanding of these different sections. Now, part 2. Today, we're going to start with some Get a Job English, and today's Get a Job English is a cover letter. Most companies that want an English resume would also like there to be a cover letter that goes with it. A cover letter, the daily objectives for the cover letter are to learn the form of a resume cover letter, the parts of the cover letter, proofreading a cover letter, and also some warnings about writing a cover letter. Then it will give the assignment that you need to do for this section. Resume cover letters. Before writing, first of all, update your resume. Check to make sure it's complete. A different day we will be doing English resumes, so right now you could actually make sure your Korean resume is updated. Next, research the target organization you would like to work at. Third, analyze the job. What is it you're trying to do at the company? You're not going to be the CEO unless your father owns the company. So you need to analyze what kind of job you're trying to get. And if you can find it out, it is best to include the name of the manager or the hiring agent that this will be going through to make it seem more personal. While you're writing, there are heading elements. This is going to be at the top of it. It is the formula. It's the format that the letter should be in. Then the body letter, and once again, there is a formula of what's supposed to be in the body of the letter, and I will go through that later. Then there's a conclusion, and then, well, you need to proofread it. So, the heading elements. So, the address starts at the top left-hand corner of the letter. Skip 4 lines after that. So, the address that you're going, your address. That probably would include email address, street address, your name, and a phone number. Skip 4 lines, the date, whatever day you're writing this letter. Then skip 4 more lines, the contact person. This might be the name of the manager or the hiring agent that you are sending it to. Then the name of the company and the company address. You can include company email or company phone number here if you want to. Then skip a line and dear, if it's doctor, it would be dear Dr. Kim, dear Mr. Kim, dear Miss Kim. Do not use first names as that is not part of a business writing. If you cannot find out the name of the person who you are addressing the letter to, you can put dear sir / madam. Next, the body of the letter. In the first paragraph, you need to include why are you writing the letter. So this letter, there has to be a purpose of why you're writing it. So I am writing this letter to try to get a job as a, whatever the job title you're trying to get, at name of company. So in the first paragraph, that would be the first paragraph. What are you trying to do? The next 1 or 2 paragraphs, then you start talking about how you were qualified for this job. This could include classes that you've taken, part-time jobs that you've had, volunteer work, internships, or anything like that that would show the company that you can do what you want to be hired as. Next, how do your abilities compare to the requirements? Different jobs need different requirements. If you are trying to get in as an accountant at a company, have you passed the accountant's test? Have you taken accounting classes? What kind of accounting are you able to do the best? Does it match what the job you're going for is? This should be enthusiastic. You should be interested in trying to get a job at this company. And so you're trying to put in how you can help the company. So the second and the third paragraph are actually aimed at you are trying to sell yourself to this company. You should hire me. I would be good for your company, kind of things. Then you get to the final paragraph. And the final paragraph, if you have any questions for the company, you can include them there. If you have any attachments, such as certifications, or if they're asking for a copy of resume or things like that, then you would include, please see attachments for my resume and also my transcript of grades. Then give your thanks. Thank you very much for your time. You can contact me at, and include your contact information again in the final paragraph. Your conclusion, yours sincerely, if it is addressed to a person. If it is not addressed to a person, then yours faithfully would probably be a better choice. So if you use Dear Sir, Dear Madam, yours faithfully is best. Regards, then leave 4 blank lines to sign, and you would sign it in blue ink. If it is online, only leave 1 or 2 blanks, and then type your name. Proofread. One of the things that people do not do when they are writing a resume or a cover letter, you need to proofread it. The less number of mistakes you have in your resume cover letter, the better it is. If you write your resume cover letter using Hangul Word or writing in Word, Microsoft Word, if you see a red squiggly line underneath the word, you have spelled it incorrectly. Run a spell checker and make sure that all the spelling is correct. Now, if it's the name of the company, that may not be in the spell checker. But try to fix all of those. Green squiggly lines means that your word processing program, whether it's Hangul Word or Microsoft Word, thinks that there is an error with the grammar. If you right-click over that or you run the spelling and grammar check, it will tell you what they think is wrong with it. If you see something like incomplete sentence, or it tells you to add a comma, you need to make a fix to change that. Also, don't make it sound like it's all about you. Even though it is, you do want to include things like, I can help your company by doing this. It's how you can help them, not just how they are helping you. Next, when you're writing a formal letter, which a cover letter is, there are no contractions. So you would not say I've, you would say I have. Next, please remember to stay formal. So you're going to use a higher level of language. If you use a translator, it is okay to do it for one word. Do not use translators for complete sentences. Also, if you are trying to translate an idiom or a metaphor, it will not be correct in English. Another thing about only one page, so your cover letter is more than one page, then you need to cut some of the things out. They are usually going through many cover letters at the same time. If it's too long, even if it's good, they may or may not read it, and you might lose out to someone else. Keep it upbeat, professional, and informative. This is not exactly the same as the resume. You're not just listing, I had this part-time job, I had this part-time job, and this job I did this. We'll get to that later. What you're doing here is you are actually telling them how your experiences can help you get a specific job at their company. This is why research is so important. Finally, with proofreading, you're talking about a job here, so it is important. If something is important enough, like a job, find someone else to proofread it. Whether it is an old university professor that you've had, or a friend who speaks English really well. Ask them to proofread it, and get their opinion. Ask them how well they understood it. If you can get them to help you change it, that would also be great. There are some warnings. Number 1, this is not an autobiography. You do not need to include every single class you took, only the ones that are pertinent to helping you do that job. You don't start back in high school or middle school, or one person I helped started in kindergarten. This is not an autobiography of your life. This is how your experiences help you get a job. Next, avoid empty language. What I mean by empty language is words that don't say anything. This does happen where people actually go in and they just start writing, and they don't realize that they've said the same thing 2 or 3 times. Be specific, be concrete, and don't be afraid of rejection. If the company turns you down, it doesn't necessarily mean your cover letter was bad, but go back and check it and try to learn from it. Keep the file, because you can always reword the job and the company description to help you get another job, and change it a little bit and see if that helps. Now, finally, there is homework for day 1. The homework for day 1 is I would like you to write a cover letter in English and upload it to the FLMS on the Dongguk website. It is worth a total of 20 points towards your completion of this program. There will also be on the FLMS an example cover letter that you will be able to look at and at least mirror. Please do not copy it word for word, as it will be for a fictional company and a fictional job. The grading for the 20 points will be based on communication. What we're looking for with communication is how well can someone who is reading it understand what you're saying? How easily can they do that? Are you communicating well? Next is grammar. Did you get all the green squiggly lines out from underneath? Do you have errors that get in the way of your communication with grammar? If so, you will lose some points. Vocabulary. Are you using professional words? Are you using a high enough level of vocabulary? Have you used the best word to describe it? That would be vocabulary. Organization, that is what I've just been talking about. Under organization, you need to go through, do you have the right addresses in? Do you have your first paragraph which says what you're trying to do to get the job? In the second and third paragraph, have you described how your experience fits into this company and makes you a good hire for the company? And does it have the contact information and everything in the 4th paragraph that is listed? And do you have a signature line? So these are the 4 things that will be graded. Remember that you do need to get a certain percentage to pass this class. Please upload this cover letter to the FLMS as soon as possible, and it will be checked, and you can check your score on a scale of 1 to 20, or probably 4 to 20. Thank you very much, and next week we will be talking about Speaking TOEIC Part 1, or not next week, tomorrow we will be talking about Speaking TOEIC Part 1, and we will also be talking about interview questions.